How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Philadelphia Flyers franchise mode, episode number 16, headed into the 2026 draft and off season. In the last one, we had an abysmal first round against the Pittsburgh Penguins as we dropped in 5 games to our rivals in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Patrick Laine, 3 goals in 5 games. That was great. We had a lot of players not show up when it came to the points. Seider, Pelech, our top defenseman, showed up. At least that was nice. But Parros, 31 goals in the year, 1 goal in the postseason. Nylander, 2 assists in 5 games. Puljujarvi, 5 goals and 64 points, 1 assist in 5 games. The scoring did not show up for us. So headed into next season, year number 5 with the Flyers, we have very high hopes as our RFA acquisition, Wayne Peterson, will be joining the team. But we still do have a lot of other things to think about, such as the defense. Can we trust this core for another year? The goaltending. Can Michael DiPietro be our starter, or do we look to a different backup? Can Ustimenko be that backup? Can Carey Price at a 79 be that backup? Likely not. So do we look at targeting free agents? Do we look at targeting trades? Do we make a splash by trading an underperforming high overall player like a William Nylander? That's what I turn to all of you in the comments for. As the assistant general managers had a lot to say, I want to get into it right away because this could be a busy off season. Maybe not. It'll depend on who's available in free agency, but I'm just salivating to get this off season started. So we head down into the comments section to see what the assistant general managers had to say, and it's a big one we're starting off with from Joe. Joe says, hello again, Data. Hello, Joe. Ratcliffe's overall has dropped and it's time for his departure. Let me, again, just quickly pause the comment to show as I go along in these comments so we have some illustration. Ratcliffe, 27 years of age, 81 overall. He'll be on an expiring deal next season. He's been with us since the beginning of the series here with the Flyers, but he hasn't been great, nor has he really been given the most opportunities to be great. Maybe it's time to move on from him. But regardless, he frees up a roster spot. Joe says that now is the time for his departure, as well as Wade Allison, Robert Hagg, Matthew Strome, Barclay Goodrow, goodbye. Now, I get moving Goodrow would be cap positive, but is Strome someone we maybe keep to be the injury fill-in guy? Honestly, I think we have better people or just other options in the AHL, so not a big deal. I think all those players can be traded at the draft for random picks. As for the D, sigh. I really think it's time to move Pelech with his overall beginning to dip and the fact he only showed up in the playoffs when it was too late. Now, pause here again. Adam Pelech, the thing is, yes, he was not great in the regular season. Yes, he showed up in the postseason. But regardless of his performance, he is an 87 overall left D who is going to be making $5.75 million for 3 more years after this one. Whether or not we keep him till the end of his contract, he's only played 66 games here in Philadelphia, and he's on a very reasonable deal. He is also the left D placeholder for our future number 1 left D, hopefully, which will be Hugo Brisebois. So if we were to move Pelech and bring in someone else, it would probably only be for a couple years. Is there an 87 overall plus defenseman who wants to come to our team for 2 years? I don't think so. So unless Pelech really continues to be horrible, I'm happy to keep him on the team. So I don't think we need to replace Pelech yet. We could move Brisebois up to the second pair, call up Plekhanov, Robertson taking the spot. Yes, but I think hopefully that it was just a hiccup for Adam Pelech. Yes, the replacement could be within the team. We could go first pair Sanheim or whatever else, but I don't want that to be the game 1 roster, an 83 with a 91. An 87 really does make a difference if he can play well. Joe is also not opposed to signing a starting goalie from free agency, but if we could package Pelech, Ustimenko, Ratcliffe, whatever, to a team for a starting goalie, that would be great as well. So it really depends on who is available in free agency, because then Gascon's getting promoted to minor league starter at the very least, like full-time starter. She was kind of sharing starts a little bit. I think she played a little bit more than half the season, but next season she'll play the full year after she won the Jennings last year in the AHL. Finding that starting goalie via trade or free agency would force your hand at sending Price down or letting him go, which is likely something that we'll do. I know you've said no before, but hear me out. If we move Morgan Frost, Savoie becomes first-line centerman, which could free up a spot on the wing for the second line for Lindblom, and you move Parros to the first, Nylander to the second. On the right side, Frost could even be the piece that gets you the starting goalie and moves DiPietro to backup. Pause this comment again. The thing a lot of people mentioned a possible Morgan Frost trade. Morgan Frost is coming off of a career year, playing second-line minute time, 56 points in 82 games, and he is signed for 4 more years at $3 million. Wherever he is in that middle six, kind of a Swiss Army guy, I think we can go ahead and keep him, because Claude Giroux is likely gone after this season. I would think that he'll retire after this next year, because our top six, if it's Laine, Nylander, Puljujarvi, Savoie, Parros, and Peterson, who's not here right now, that means Frost, Giroux, let's say Newhook on the third line, and then that puts Lindblom with the call-ups from the AHL on the fourth line. It depends on how many people we're calling up. Yes, Lindblom would be a costly fourth liner, but he is a leader and he is a penalty killer. So while it works, while we have the money and the roster spots to keep him on the fourth line, I'd be okay with keeping him on the fourth line. Again, still much to decide depending on growth and availability of players on July 1st. But as Joe continues, with Mayorov and McLennan getting the jump from the AHL, that keeps guys like Denoye, Pekka, Madden in that conversation for coming soon. Potential lines, as I just mentioned, Parros, Savoie, Laine, Nylander, Peterson, Puljujarvi, maybe Lindblom, Giroux on the second line, depends where Lindblom would fit, but the fourth line can definitely have Mayorov and McLennan on the wings. I just wouldn't want to put Newhook as fourth line center with his medium league potential. Hopefully we get some more growth out of him before the final year of his $850K contract expires. We either keep him longer term, he fits into our plans, or we trade him for value with some growth. Defensively, I'd prefer to go Pelech, Seider, and then Brisebois, Pionk, Risto, whatever, Plek, Robinson. Again, really, it's tough to say right now. It'll depend on their growth. If Plekanov's still 79, maybe he stays in the AHL. If he's pushing 80, 81, then we're forced to make a move. Maybe a guy like Risto doesn't come back, or he's 13th D. As for the draft, Joe will let me take care of that. And as always, thank you for another stellar video, even if the team was not, and looking forward to the next one. Much love, GM Data. Thank you very much, Joe. A longer comment, but the reason I showcased it is because it encapsulates a lot of the other comments that a lot of people were making. Thoughts about Frost, thoughts about the lineup, thoughts about trading for a defenseman, even trading William Nylander. Nylander, yes, he's a bit costly at $10.265 million to not be doing much. He signed for 4 more years after this one, and as a playmaker who's going to have a sniper centerman in Wayne Peterson, I think I want to give Nylander a shot on that first line before we think about making some sort of big move. Hopping over to the Discord server now, we start with Connor. First time chiming in here, long time follower, all the way back to the Wild series. So Connor, great to hear from you, and thank you for your support throughout the series. I agree with a lot of what has been said, but I believe Nylander should be shopped around for a top 6 player, not future picks or prospects. Or you could shop him around for a goalie that is under contract and has good sim history. Nylander in this universe has not lived up to the hype or expectations. I don't think moving up in the draft is the right choice. At best, we had another third or fourth line guy, which wouldn't be what we need. We need one solid, consistent player, top 6, that our other guys can feed off of and grow. The pieces are there in Savoie, Peterson, and Parros, I believe, and I concur, Connor. As far as goalies, I bid you good luck. The sim engine for goalies is absolutely a dumpster fire. Overall means 0. The best I have found is look at the 81 to 84 range and see how they have been simming. Pick one and pray with a short-term deal. Thank you for those thoughts, Connor. And I agree, if we were to move Nylander, it would be in a hockey deal. It wouldn't be for picks or prospects. But again, I don't want to do that just yet. I'm going to give him a chance in that new top 6 next season. Savoie already in 86, Parros already in 85, and more growth coming. I'm very excited for the offensive capabilities of the Flyers next year. For our head coach, Pat comments that it would be good if we can find someone who has hold line or balanced with shoot on the first pair D to give 3 check marks to Hugo and Mo. That would be in an ideal world. Second pair also being hold line / cycle, which would give 4 checks for Pionk and Pelech. That would be a fantastic top 4 of the future. If we can find that head coach, that would be great, but if it's not possible, prioritize the combo for pairing number 1, since we drafted Hugo specifically to play with Seider. We're not married to the head coach. It's not the real world here. Unfortunately, this is the one thing of franchise mode that we can't be super realistic about. I'm down to get a new head coach every season until we find the right guy. because it has to be an A plus overall. It has to be high offense, has to be a good fit. Our current head coach is A rated with A minus offense and a decent fit, but not great for the defense. So we can keep that in mind if any great options become available on July 1st. And finishing off with Derek, who gave some thoughts on the William Nylander conversation that was being had in the Discord server. Nylander was on pace for 97 points in year 1, then near point per game in year 2, then had his down year, which is still passable production. His 265 million contract in 2026 would actually be 8.4 million in today's NHL when thinking about the percent of the salary cap that it eats up. So it's not that bad of a contract. There would be no reason why we couldn't make a hockey trade with a little bit of creativity. It wouldn't be an impossible contract to move. Despite the somewhat jokingly declaring that he's been a fraud and must be traded, I wouldn't trade him for no reason, other than I think a different kind of player is what's needed to bring this team to the next level. But as I said, we'll explore that if and when needed after we've seen him play with Wayne Peterson. So thank you for all those thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We'll think about the contract situations and free agency after the draft. The first thing we have to think about, of course, is the draft. And we see on the draft board, we don't have a ton of draft picks, but we should recoup some by trading away some of those expiring contracts. We do have a pick number 20 and round number 2 around the 50s. That's our first selection, since we still don't have our firsts just yet. Then a 4th, a 5th, and 2 6ths, as we lost a little bit of draft capital in the Carey Price trade as well. So if we could just start off the draft by making a few trades, that would be great. I'm going to do that right off the bat. So first we'll see, are any of the top picks up for grabs? We know that there's a franchise player going number 1 to the Bruins here, not up for grabs. Pick number 7 would be available for trade. So first, I'd just like to see who's there at pick 7, just out of curiosity. So first overall is the medium franchise player who was similar to Wayne Gretzky, a playmaker who's not the typical franchise forward. Sometimes you see like 84 overall when they're franchise, but I'm sure that he will grow extremely quickly. Playmaking centerman, center right winger going to the Boston Bruins. He will be a pillar of the NHL moving forward. Flames get a medium elite 80 overall sniper, medium elite defensive defenseman going to Nashville, medium elite right wing playmaker 77 going to Dallas, medium elite 78 overall two-way D, and a medium top 4 71 overall D. Here at the 7th pick, we just see some medium top 6 players. There is a guaranteed medium elite defenseman going a little later on. All these guys 3 years away now. Yeah. So it would be around pick 11 if we were thinking about getting Kyler Hendrickson, medium elite defensive defenseman, around pick 11. But let's just start going a bit more forward. Yeah, these are tough top 10 picks now. These are guys you can get at the end of the first round. 9. Oh, Hendrickson actually goes early to the Coyotes. 74 overall, medium elite. Very interesting there. A 17-year-old at 74 overall. Yeah, very, very interesting. But I don't think we'll be making any trades here in the first round. What I want to do is just start trading the fine trade and just trade the expiring contracts that we have here. So if I go 2 years left and go to 1, we'll see who's up for grabs. If I can try and move a guy like Wade Allison, for example. Who wants Wade Allison? If I press find trade around the NHL, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of 7th round picks all around. Can even get some expiring contracts, but we can get a bunch of 7ths and hopefully swap some of those 7ths for 6th, 5ths, whatever. So the highest pick was 216, I believe, that we were offered. 213 from the Oilers. So yeah, we'll take pick number 213. Just to recap, Wade Allison, been a great piece for us during the entirety of the series. 2nd round pick in 2016, made his NHL debut with us. With the blipped universe, his points have been a little bit off, but he did score 3 assists in 21 games this last year, and he had the 2 big playoff goals in 5 games in round number 1 this last year. So Wade Allison, you've been a flyer through and through. Thank you for your service, and we will send him off to Edmonton for the 213th overall pick. Next up is Matthew Strome, another good player here. He was the 4th round pick in 2017, 106th overall in the Strome family. He's been a good 4th line, depth, 13th forward for us. We're also going to be looking to just get whatever we can find for Matthew Strome. I'm sure it'll be very similar offers. Yeah, so I'll just take whatever the highest pick is. Probably was 216 there. Yeah, we'll go 216 to the Flames. Matthew Strome, best of luck in Calgary. Next up, can we trade Barclay Goodrow? What kind of value does Goodrow have? It's 1 more year after this one at 3.64, 80 overall. Okay, there's some value here. Very good. Okay, we can get a 5th and a 7th. All right. So I'm actually going to do this manually. I'm going to see if I can turn Goodrow and Ratcliffe into something like a 3rd round pick maybe. Let me do a little research. San Jose's pick is another medium top 6 player. So let me do a little research here. All right, so let's see what the Avalanche have to say here. Can I get a 3rd and a 6th for Ratcliffe and Goodrow? The trade value looks pretty even. Goodrow did not play at all with us here in Philadelphia. He came in the Wayne Peterson deal. But Isaac Ratcliffe, a 2nd round pick back in 2017. He's been with us again through this whole series. He's played a lot of NHL minutes. His entire career has been with GM data at the helm. 32 points in 2024-25, playing some power play and I think 4th line minutes. 4th line last year, 17 points. He's been good, around 17, 18 points. Very consistent as a 4th liner, but just, spread your wings and fly, buddy. Colorado wants you. I'm going to send you to the Western Conference. Can I get 2 picks out of this? Trade accepted. We could probably got even a little bit more, but I'm very happy to get a 3rd and a 6th out of those 2 players who I was just happy to move on from. So now we have a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 3 6ths, and 2 7ths. Are we done there, or can we make a last couple deals? Chicago at pick number 12, another medium top 6. This guy's 74 overall, though. Guys who just wouldn't get re-signed, wouldn't be coming back, who are, like Zanetti, 68 overall, 23 years of age. Would any team even want to offer me anything for this guy? Yeah, no trades found. Maybe I can put him together with somebody else, but let me just keep scrolling a little bit more. Hogberg, probably winning like Sushko. Wouldn't be bringing these guys back. Cates. We got to get some new blood in there in the AHL. Maybe even Hag, who we got off of waivers. Anyone interested in Hag? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Let's get 217 from the Avalanche. Very nice. Another pick in the system. See if I can squeeze a 5th out of Nashville here. Zanetti, Cates, and Sushko. 5th round pick, Nashville. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the 7th. If it doesn't work, then they're just going to walk to free agency. But 7th round pick for these 3 guys, what do you say? All right, not going to happen. They will just walk. At least we got some value back for other players. Now, when it comes to a guy that we want in the 5th round or the 4th round, we'll have some picks to trade up with. So that's all I wanted to do here to start the draft. Let's sim to the end of the 1st round because we're not going to have any value to move up for those guys, nor are they necessarily super enticing. That defenseman who went earlier was probably the only guy I'd be looking at. There might have been one other defenseman, but I'm seeing just a lot of 60-some overall players. No one's jumping out. Medium top 9 potential, really. Medium top 6D, yikes. Yeah, no one I would have wanted to trade for in that 1st round. But now we start at the 2nd round. Anyone we want to think about in the 2nd round? Granato was someone I really liked here. Arthur Granato, low elite gem. Our scouts have him at 32. He might go 35, 37. He's 3 years away at the age of 17, which is very tempting. 6'2", had 11 points in the U.S. system, 42 penalty minutes. Doesn't have horrible skating. It's not like his skating is at E, as some defensive defensemen sometimes are. If I could somehow trade up for Vancouver's pick at 34, as they want to trade it, that would be of interest to me. So I'd give you I'd give you 52. Can I give you just a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th? To move up here to this one. You aren't where you need to be. I'm swapping seconds and I'm adding in a 4th and a 7th to say thanks for helping me out. Is that enough? Even it's quite close to fair value. I could take out the 7th and put a 6th, or I could just put another 7th, and I have enough. So you know what? Let's just do another 7th here. Let's do a 4th, a 6th, and 2 7ths. Still a bit off. So I'll just take out both 7ths and do another 6th then. 180 and 177 actually. 181, so a 4th, 2 6ths, and a 2nd for the pick that will give us a nice defenseman here, Arthur Granato, a player I'm happy to have in the system. Boston at 33. Oh, reaches for Granato. Wow, that's rough. But you know what? He's a 65. It's not crazy. I was hoping he would be a bit higher if he was, I don't know, 3 years away. No, this is good. This is what he was likely going to be. Nice X factors. Bit of a project with the 1-star puck skills, 1-star senses, stuff like that. But he would have been good. Oh, Boston reaches up a little bit. Okay, well, we'll just trade now. We'll trade down at this point then. We can either take a medium top 6 forward. There's a medium top 4 D gem. But I don't know. I don't know at this point. I might just trade really down. Medium elite Maxwell. No, there's other medium elite goalies later on. Pilstrom at 60 might be of interest. No. I think we'll just trade down to Pilstrom, the low top 6 who I was interested in here. Because what's interesting about him is that he is also 17 and 3 years away. So he could be a 65 overall kind of guy. There's other medium top 6s and medium top 4s around here, but they're all going to be pretty much the same. They're all going to be 65 overall medium top 6, 64 overall medium top 6. Nothing especially, crazy that stands out about any of them. So, but Amir Lyles, 5'9" offensive defenseman gem, 3 years away. Ooh, that stands out to me. Down at 43, and then maybe I can recoup enough value to get that other pick for the guy that I wanted around 60. So I could trade down from 34 to 41. Let's think about that. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Yeah, I guess I'll trade down. I guess I'll have to pick a bit early. I don't want him to go again too early. So go down from 34 to 40. I won't get much back, but I will get something. See, if I trade up, I have to give a 4th, 2 6ths, and a 7th, blah, blah, blah. If I try to trade down, can I have a 4th out of this? No, you aren't where you need to be, nor are you... Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work. Can I even get a 6th? I doubt I'd even get a 6th to move down 6 spots. Okay, at least that. I get a 6th out of it that we can use for more trades. Rangers go ahead and select medium top 9. Yikes. At pick number 40, let's do it. Amir Lyles. Some medium top 6s going here. Denis was a grinder at 74 overall. Yeah, really nothing special around here. So let's do it at 40. I like the offensive defenseman in NHL land. That's very important. There is Raimo Blomqvist, medium top 4D gem as well. And he's 2 years away. But his skating is E? 1-star skating? I don't know. This is tough. I like Amir. When I think about real world, it would be Blomqvist, but in EA land, you got to go Amir Lyles, I think, here. Kind of like a Lane Hudson kind of guy. Let's do it. From the USA West, welcome to Philadelphia, my friend. Left D, who is 65 overall, medium top 4D, offensive defenseman, 76 offensive awareness. Yeah, a lot of attributes that will take time to grow. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's keep simming. I want to see what was that defenseman that we passed on. Blomqvist ends up being 69 overall, medium top 4D at 18 years of age. Half-star skating. Yeah, wonky prospect. That's exactly what I thought he would be. I am not a fan of the wonky prospects. So now our next pick comes at 89, but I want to try and get that pick around 60. Let me see. Was it really at 60? Yeah, he's going at 60. I don't have a ton of value to move up for him, but let's see what it would take. So to trade for pick 58, actually. Pick 58. Can I give you... Oof, this would be tough. I'd have to start... So it would be a lot of picks here. Unless I'm willing to give up the 3rd round pick, which I wouldn't really want to. Like a 5th, a 6th, and all 3 7ths. Still wouldn't be enough to get this 2nd round pick, I don't think. Unless Nashville really wants to trade it. No, not up to snuff. Yeah, that's the thing. If I dip into the 3rd... I give 89, I give 165, and I give a couple 7ths. This could work. Still trade rejected. No. I don't think it's going to happen. We go for the top 4 defenseman instead of the medium top 4D instead of the low top 6 forward. I think we'll have to sim to next round at this point. We just don't have the value, and that's just the way the news goes sometimes. You got to just accept that. So other guys who end up going here, I'm really curious about the guy we wanted. Medium top 6Ds, really tough. Medium elite goalie there to the Oilers. Corbet, Maltby, Pilstrom. So Pilstrom was 63 overall, low top 6. Okay, nothing too wild. No, nothing too wild here. At 17 years of age, good overall. I like it, but it would have taken a lot to trade for him. It's more low top 6s and guys like that going later on. We're at pick 65 now. Our next pick comes at 89. Is there anyone we want between 65 and 89? A lot of guys who we could pass on. Not big deals there. Medium top 9s. 2 bars low elite. Not enough for me to want to go for it. At 89, there's this guy, Elijah Walter. But he might be gone. Or, yeah, we'll probably go Dakota Tunney. Low elite, 3-bar low elite gem. Hopefully he's guaranteed. Yeah, we'll probably... Oh, there is a guaranteed medium top 6 Gogolev. Alexander Gogolev. But he's 20 years of age. And he's still 5 years away. Yeah, not happening. So let's sim to our pick, and we'll probably take Tunney. 3 bars low elite, hopefully because he's a gem, we can trust that he actually is. Elijah Walter goes to Tampa Bay, 62 overall, low top 4D. At 89 overall, I'm going to take a bit of a chance here because of the gem status. Tunney, and let me just double check on the age here. Tunney is 18 from the Portland Winterhawks. He's 4 years away. Might be a bit of a wonky prospect. This is risky. This is definitely a risky pick. After this, I'm not a big fan of the risky picks. Not much after this, though. That's the thing. We'd be taking risks on 3-bar guys no matter where. So we can wait till our next pick after that one. Let's go ahead and take Tunney. Gogolev's interesting, but he's going to be NHL ready at the age of 25. Like, it doesn't make sense for us. So Dakota Tunney from the WHL. What are you, my friend? You are low top 6. I'll take that. Low elite or low top 6 would have been fine either way. 62 overall, gem, 2-way forward, and not a wonky prospect. Okay, thank you very much. Next pick is at 146. There's likely a pick I would make before 146. It's 3-bar low top 6 forward. Not anyone really standing out that much. There's the medium elite goalie gem, Serge Giguère, around 140. So maybe I'll trade for a pick in the 130s so we can take Giguère from the Quebec Ramparts. So I'll trade for a pick in the 130s. I'm going to see if I can make a deal with Montreal here. I'll give them 146 with a couple 7ths just to move up to 134. Could it just be done with 1/7? Yes, it could. All right, saving some value. Thank you very much, Montreal. Thought I'd make a deal with them after we made the good carry price trade. So let's simulate all the way to pick number 134. Fringe starter goalie went. No one super special here. So now we'll take our medium elite goalie prospect to add one more to the pool. It's always tough in EA land. You got to have a lot of goalies with in the depth chart. So Serge Giguère from the Quebec Ramparts of the QMJHL, 18 years of age. He's a gem. He's 5 years away. He'll be a project, but he's in the system. Serge, bienvenue à l'équipe, mon ami. You are 48 overall medium elite as expected. By the way, speaking of goalies, I was thinking of trading Carey Price. I'm not sure if anyone would want to take on the cap hit, though, so I didn't bother trying. But you know what? I should at least give it a shot. Worst case, I think we're just going to sign and trade him back to Montreal to try and make it a storyline. But hold on, we have some offers here. Just basically one offer from the New Jersey Devils. For a 209th overall pick, you know what? I think I'm going to sign him to a $1.5 million deal and give him to Montreal at that point. If Montreal was offering, that would be one thing, but no, I'm going to wait and sign him and then be able to move him after that. Our next pick is at 168. Anyone between 135 and 168 we want to take a shot on. There is another medium elite goalie, I believe, but we already took one. We have 2 others in our system. I don't think we'll take more. Latipov is 19 and 4 years away. Yeah, and Harris is also, he is how old? Harris is 19, a gem, and 5 years away. Giguère was 18, a gem, and 5 years away, and the highest rank. So I'm happy with that goalie selection for us. Not sure there's anyone else between now and then, 160 whatever, that we want to draft. Doesn't look like it, eh? No, so let's go ahead and sim to our next selection at 168. The other goalie after Giguère, we see the other goalie was Harris was 60 over. Oh my goodness, but it's because he was 19, that's why. So he has a bit of a higher overall, but that's exactly why. He's 1 year older. Give Giguère 1 year and he'll be a 60 at the age of 19 as well. Latipov, as 19 years of age, was also 58 overall. So don't think that they're better just because they're higher overall. They're 1 year older, which means that they have 1 extra year of growth. Our guy was ranked higher. I think it was a good value pick right there. Let's go to our selection at 168 now. No one really standing out to me, so we'll probably just take a shot on someone who's a 2-bar kind of guy. 2-bar low top 6 or 2-bar low top 4D. Let's go for Todd Maroon, 6'2", maybe a power forward, out from the Prince Albert Raiders of the WHL. He is low top 9 grinder, not the worst pick for the 6th round. When it's all low bottom 6 forwards, I don't mind getting a low top 9 forward. Now I think we'll just start taking our guys, though, because I see there's no one really interesting to me. Do I have anyone pinned still on my list here? Oh, yes, I do. At 175, let's take my first guy on the list then. Let's take Vesa Hakana, 18-year-old, 3-bar low elite defensive defenseman, 5 years away, but if he's a potential pick, he's a potential pick. He is low elite, 51 overall. Thank you very much. Now we go to pick number 213. At 213, we should get another low elite of the guys that we have pinned. Going to our pinned players, I think it was, yeah, there's Enlund, who's low top 4D, but that's later even. Let's go for Jeffrey Zacharias or for Carson Terry. Terry is ranked higher, low elite guarantee as well, from Austria, and playing with Dusseldorfert over in Germany in the Dell. Carson Terry, the power forward, welcome to Philadelphia, low elite 50 overall, thank you very much. Get that value in there, Carson Terry, yes sir. Next pick is at 216, just a few picks after this one. See, they're getting medium 7Ds, bottom 6 forwards. Our scouts were working, and we're going to get some low elite potential here. Let's go for Jeffrey Zacharias, 3 bars low elite. Is he actually low elite? He is low elite, 49 overall. There we go. Let's get that growth, baby. And our last pick is non-existent, so I'm just going to go trade for the last pick of the draft, which will be from the Florida Panthers, and we'll take that last player that we wanted. Our 7th next year for your 7th this year. A simple trade that they're going to have the fans cheering in the streets. Thank you very much. With the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant at 224th overall. We will select a player who is ranked in the 300s. Magnus Enlund, Swedish defenseman out of the SHL. 5 years away, but guaranteed low top 4 potential. We'll take that every day of the week for a 224th overall pick. 51 overall. And a solid draft here in Philadelphia. We drafted more than we thought. We got Lyles, we got Tunney. No one is necessarily going to be impact players within the next 2-3 years, but always good to have those shelves stockpiled. Now we can head into the re-sign phase, which should be fairly straightforward. I'll re-sign the scout, coaching staff, and whoever else, but I want to get to the contracts now. And our biggest one, of course, is Wayne Peterson. He sat out last season as the New York Rangers did not give him a deal. He wants to go long-term. We could go in that 6-7 year range and get him to his late 20s, or we could go 4 years in the RFA and keep him as an RFA status. I think a 4-year deal would make the most sense, realistically, as well, as he just sat out last season. He's only 22. We could go, it's not that much difference. I think it would be maybe a bit cheesy if we went 6x6 for a guy who hasn't played much. 4 years at 6.25 will 85% it. In the time that he has played in the NHL, he's been very good with the Rangers. He has 158 points, 87 goals, coming off of a 60-point season 2 years ago. So 85% of what he's asking for at 6.25 is 5.31. So I think 5.325 is a fair deal for Wayne Peterson. 5.325. Let's make it 5.350 for 4 years. He'll make $21.4 million. Let's see what he says to that. Claude Giroux, our captain. What do you say, my friend? He wants 1 year, $4 million. It's a bit expensive, especially for a guy who's being our third liner, but he's chasing history. He's our captain. He's been a good point producer as well, so it's hard to say no. So at 85%, it's 4.125. 1 year, 4.125. He's been a stickler for the money. He consistently wants what he's asking for and not like much less at all. But we'll try 85%, 1 year at 4.125. We have, almost 22 million to play with, so it's not the end of the world. And we'll keep going from there. The last big one before I take care of a lot of this stuff off screen would be Carey Price. I'm going to sign him to just a cheap 1 year deal and try to trade him back to Montreal. 1 year, $1 million. Already exact backup potential at a 79 overall. He will drop even more. So 1 year, $1 million. Bang. That's it. That's all. Ustimenko, third goalie. It's not the worst situation. He's happy to have a two-way deal as well. So I think for $800K, 80 overall, that's a fine deal to have. Now for everybody else, some of these, like Malmstrom, he was a draft pick in 6th round back in the day, so a guy like him can get released. I'll sign some of these guys. Lisa Anderson, I'll sign. RFAs, like Robertson is probably the only one that really matters the most because he'll be trying to get into the NHL. We could go 1 year to keep him as an RFA. I thought he was just going to be a toss-in for this trade. I don't want to cheese it. I don't want to go 2-3 years and we lose him. Let's go 1 year. Keep him as an RFA. He might be a top 6 defenseman for us, or he's just a 7th D guy. But regardless, I'll offer him the 2.150 for 1 year, which is 85%, and we'll see what he thinks about it. Kolyachonok, Madden, Wiley, all these guys, most of these, I think all of them are going to get contracts except for Zanetti. 68, 23. We're going to go ahead and release Zanetti. And I'll take care of all of this as well as re-signing the scouts, and then we'll advance a day. Alrighty, so advancing a day now. I'll wait for all the scouts to sign on. Hold on, Claude Giroux right away. Not offered me the money that I want. Of course, I'm worth much more. Of course you are. Of course you are. Elias Anderson, Carey Price, Kolyachonok, Robertson, very good. Wiley, Ustimenko wants more. Well, he wants to be in the NHL, whatever. Madden, that's good. I'm hoping that he can be like a 13th forward. Evangelista, Enright, Avon, Samson, Wayne Peterson wants the financials adjusted. Okay. All right, so that being taken care of, we now come to... I only took about $2 million of our cap space. Wayne Peterson's the big one here. I'm not trying to nickel and dime him. I know I've been known for being a bit of a Scrooge during RFA negotiations. But, buddy, you didn't play at all last season. I think I'm offering you fair money. So instead of 5.35, let's try going 4 years at 5.5, $5.5 million. I guess that's fair. I'd probably go up to 5.75, but more than that, I think I would just qualify him and get it done on July 1st. So Wayne Peterson, 4 years at 5.5. Let's see what he says to that. UFAs who declined, of course, number 1, Claude Giroux. Let's try going 1 year at 4.35. Just keep going up. Again, we're in a good position because we don't need the money right now. Plus, it's only a 1 year deal. But let's not get greedy. Let's not get greedy. That's all I'm saying. Advanced on their day now. The scouts are going to start signing on. Very nice. Very nice. Easy decision. Okay. Merci, Claude. And rejected once again from Wayne Peterson. So RFAs. I'm not going more than I have to go. You're the one who is being silly right now. I'm going to go 5.65 for 4 years. If you don't like it, I'm just going to qualify you. Last chance here, Wayne. And, oh, it was such an easy decision. Of course it was, Wayne. Okay, he is now officially a Philadelphia Flyer. We have $12.62 million left over. Very good. Some random UFAs and RFAs. Not a big deal. I'm just going to qualify these guys. They'll get signed to whatever minor deals. And the UFAs, it's pretty full without these guys. And we can find replacements in the AHL. So I think I'm just, in free agency. So I think I'm just going to let them all walk. I know Jonah Cates has the story with Noah Cates being the family, but no, I'm not sold on keeping them. So that's pretty much all we have to do in the re-sign phase. A very quick re-sign phase, which is good to see. Now we move straight to the free agency phase. So we can sim to contracts, if I could press the right button. Sim to free agency. There we go. Let's see what we see. Pro Scouts calling. Don't call me anymore, buddy. Don't know how you got this number. And here we are in free agency. Ooh, I'm so tempted to look, but I can't just yet. Number 1, we got to look at the higher staff screen. Are there any A-rated head coaches who are out there? We see, ooh, 2 A-plus head coaches. Ooh, Binaural. Braden Binaural, who was on what team last year? He got fired from, can I see his record, please? There we go. He was fired from the Panthers. He was there for the entire simulation so far. They had 50 wins last year. So I guess probably his contract wasn't extended. But he has a very good winning percentage. Yeah, this is definitely the guy we want, unless Marchand is much better. Yves Marchand, 50%, not horrible, eh? 50% fit versus 48% fit. Who's better with Moritz Seider? Pretty even. Yeah, neither of them have great team fits. That's the sad part. Do we really hire either of these guys? You know what? I'm going to put this to the Discord server. And in the meanwhile, while they discuss it, I'm going to go look at free agency. But I'm putting the Discord server for the assistant general managers to think about. Do we want to think about Binaural or about Marchand? When it comes to the defense here, we were thinking about what Pat mentioned earlier with the first and second defensive pairings. Hold line and shoot would have been ideal on pair 1. It's hold line and cycle. So check mark and X for D pairing 1. D pairing 2, hold line cycle. It's balance cycle. So that'll be dash and check. So Pelech and Pionk would be pretty good on the second pair. And Hugo and Moritz Seider would not be horrible on the first pair. Balance 3-3, balance on the third pair, not bad at all. I'd have to think about some of the other lines as well. I didn't look deeply into Savoie, Paris, everybody else. Now when it comes to Marchand, we see the exact same things for the defense, just different fit for the forwards. So I'll throw that to the Discord server. They'll think about it. It'll feel like 2 seconds to you. It'll be a few hours over here for me. And with that being said, I'll take care of the hiring some new scouts off screen. I can't wait any longer. Let's go to free agency. And first things first, sort by unrestricted free agents. Snoop Michael Oliver in free agency as an RFA. Sorting by the UFAs, we see Jack Eichel, Sidney Crosby, Tyson Jost at an 88. Sonny Milano wants over 10 million. Lawson Krause wants 9 million. Jonathan Drouin, Taylor Hall, Alexander Ovechkin, Tuck, Vesalainen, Kadri, Chikrin, Bjorkstrand, Trouba, Dunn, Bratt, Schmaltz. Those are all the 85 and ups. When we look at the defense who are available, we see Chikrin, Trouba, Dunn is the only 85s. Chikrin is very interesting, plus he doesn't want a lot of money. Comparatively to some of the other free agents, it's not a big contract he's looking for. He probably fits our deep pairings with his current coach. Not super offensive, but that's okay. But again, we have Pelech at a cheaper deal at a higher overall, so I don't think it's a big deal. Goaltenders now. Drum roll, please. It's Thatcher Demko at an 88. We see Tristan Jarry at an 86. Jake Ottinger at an 86, and then other goalies down the overall list. I think Jake Ottinger is the obvious guy who stands out right here. Didn't have great numbers last year, but I don't think Dallas was a very good team. Yeah, he was on Dallas. He's shown himself to have better numbers in other years. So last season was a hiccup on a really bad team. Tristan Jarry, pretty solid numbers, 7 shutouts, and yeah, pretty decent. And we see at the top of the list, it was Thatcher Demko. Obviously wants the most money. He won the Vezina Trophy a couple of years ago. He has had very good numbers as well, but he obviously costs a lot more. So that's something else I'll throw over the Discord server. And I'll take a little bit of pause right now while they discuss that to sign some scouts, and I'll come back with some findings. Alright, so we did a lot of thinking over the Discord server, and here are some of the conclusions that we made. By the way, I made a couple of oopsies with the contract negotiations, but I'm going to get to that in a moment. Thatcher Demko wants 6 years at 9.45, but his asking price comes down to 7.9 if he is going to be given 3 or 4 years. But when it comes to who we're going to sign as a starting goaltender, it comes down to the timeline. We have Lebedev as our #1 goalie prospect, medium elite. We have Ev Gascon with medium starter potential. We are probably looking at a starter, one of our elite players growing to be our starter in, I'd say, that 3 to 4 year range or so. Or maybe even if it becomes 4 or 5, that goalie that we get can be signed on for 1 more year. Thatcher Demko, to get signed for 6 years at whatever, 9.65 to make sure that we get him, that would be a little too expensive for a little too long. Even though his numbers are likely the best of all of the available goaltenders, Thatcher Demko wouldn't work as well. Now, Tristan Jarry, for 2 or 3 or 4 years, it's a pretty reasonable contract. Yeah, well, for 4 goes up a bit, but 3 years, 5.5, that would be a solid deal for Tristan Jarry. But here's the thought process behind Tristan Jarry as well that was risen in the Discord server. #1, Jarry is a Pittsburgh guy. What would it say to the fan base if we're saying to them, okay, well, this guy wasn't good enough for Pittsburgh, but that means he's good enough for us? Plus, his numbers the last couple of years have been okay. They've been good even. The 7 shutouts were very good, but to have 7 shutouts and still, average-ish numbers, he had a lot of big wins and big losses. Now, Jake Ottinger, he is 4 years younger, same overall, and wants less money. Jake Ottinger didn't have a good year last year at all, but Dallas was not a good team. The last couple years before that, he was having a higher save percentage. Forget the goals against average. The save percentage was quite solid the last couple of years before that last one. 2023, 2024, and 24-25. Ottinger's younger, and if we boost it to 3 years, yeah, he wants 2 at 4.6, but if we bump it up to 3, I forget if it was 3 or 4 that I slipped on, we offer him somewhere in the higher 5.5, 5.6 range. We get him for a little longer and for, 4 million cheaper than Demko. The other thing about Jarry was we've had him before in our franchise modes, and I feel like almost every franchise mode that I see on YouTube has Tristan Jarry in there somewhere because he's often the guy that goes to free agency. So Jake Ottinger, the thing was I accidentally pressed the offer on Demko when I was looking at the different years that he was asking for, and then I just full-on slipped when I was looking at Ottinger numbers as well. So 2 big mistakes, big oopsies, but it doesn't really matter. It's still July 1st. I didn't advance any days. It shouldn't affect anything because I offered Demko like 3 years at 7.8. So I was just looking at what kind of numbers he'd be looking at. There's no way that he signs that because he's going to take a 6-year, $9 point whatever million deal with somebody else. So worst case, if he did magically sign for us for that much, we would keep him at $7 million for 3 years or whatever, and trade Jake Ottinger somewhere for a 7th round pick. But there's no way that Demko's going to sign on for the $7 million that we offered. It would have to be in the 9s. So Jake Ottinger is the guy that we're going to be rolling with, hopefully, if he signs on. He is younger, has the overall, has potential. I think I could see good things for Jake Ottinger and the Philadelphia Flyers. And I could see it happening, after his deal with the Stars expires, they don't want to pay him enough. This is around that timeline, plus he's a disciple of Ben Bishop. I like it very much. So there's the goaltending. I don't think we really have anything to look at when it comes to the forwards. If there are any interesting forwards for the AHL system, guys who are, good overall and good age. If anyone's like 24, like a 24-77, Jack Quinn. Here is Jack Quinn in free agency. Yeah, let's take a flyer on Jack Quinn. That's not going to hurt. Let's go 1 year, 2-way max deal. We can get him 2 years of RFA status. Jack Quinn, welcome to Lehigh Valley. Jack Quinn, okay. Other guys would just be too good. We'd have to put them in the NHL lineup. Any other 23s, Shergile. Trevor Wong, Honolulu Huskies legend. Trevor Wong, certified bellow to the max. We just got to get him in here 1 year. Is he an RFA? Or are the Islanders just interested in him? No, they're just interested in him. So Trevor Wong, let's try and get you signed on. I don't know how many players we really need. That's why I want to be a bit conservative. For defense, this guy's 22-74, Forsmark. Forsmark, first round pick in 2027, 2-way D. Okay, why not? Take a flyer on him. I like these little flyers. Let's go 1 year at the cheaper deal. 1 year. I don't want to give a one-way deal. 1 year, max 2-way deal for Forsmark. If not, you can, because if you can find someone who's going to give you a one-way deal, then go ahead and take it. But let's do that. Forsmark, a couple other names. Jake Ottinger. I sent out some contracts to scouts. That's all good. The last thing I want to do before we advance a few days would be to look at possible contract extensions headed into next season, because we can't re-sign Giroux or whoever else just yet, but we could look at giving Matthew Savoie his extension before he grows even more and wants even more. So we could go 3 years to keep him as an RFA, do a little bridge, but he's already in 86. I feel like now's a good time to go longer term. To be a guy at 22 going longer term, that's the trend in the NHL these days. Long term at 22, 23 years of age. So we could go 8 years at 6 point something to cheese it a little bit, but I think I'm comfortable going 7 or 8 years and going close to his asking price to kind of make it a bit more realistic. Instead of going 3 years and having to pay him 10 million or 9 million or whatever, let's go for the 7 or 8 years and pay him either like 7 by 6. 85% of 7.1 would be 6.035. And 85% of 6.725 would be 5.71. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to cheese it too much. But 8 years sounds possible. Maybe like 6.75 for 8 years. I think that's a fair deal. Pays him $54 million. He gets a big extension with a team that he hasn't done a ton on yet, but we're banking on him being great. He's getting paid way more than he's worth right now, because he would sign for somewhere in the $4 millions. But we're getting him at 8 for 6.75. I don't see this as cheese. I think this is a fair deal for all parties. And I'm going to go ahead and offer it. It hurts us a little bit for the next 2, 3, 4 years. But in years 5, 6, 7, 8, as most of these deals work, it works out for us. And of course, if we could, it would be a backloaded contract with signing bonuses, no trade clauses, blah, blah, blah. But all we really know is the AAV. So Matthew Savoie should sign that. It's a very lucrative contract. Alex Newhook is asking for 2.87. Yeah, so he's not slated for much growth. His contract's pretty much the same through and through. I'm not going to look at any other extensions in that ballpark. The last thing I want to do is trade Carey Price back to the Montreal Canadiens, because we signed him to a 1 year, $1 million, but we're going to give him back to Montreal. End off his career there as we get a new goaltender. Oh yes, I totally forgot. Just as I did with the free agents, I was exploring possible trades. And when I do explore possible trades, I do things that I don't think will go through. And I send the trade offer just to see what the message is. Very rarely do things go through by a heavy surprise like that. I traded Carey Price to the Montreal Canadiens for a 3rd and a 4th round draft pick in next year's draft. a third from Montreal, and a fourth from Montreal. I totally forgot that it went through because, it's go, go, go on the video, but there's sometimes like days between recording when it comes to an episode. So Carey Price actually had a lot of trade value, a ton, because he was signed on a cheap deal. We could have gotten probably a second-round pick even, but that is way too cheese. He's 79, 38. He's going to drop even more. It makes no sense that he has such high trade value, higher than a medium elite. Completely broken, and I wasn't going to take advantage of it. So we got him for like a third and a fourth, or a third and a fifth. It didn't work out. He wasn't good. Now he's way cheaper. Montreal, you get to keep Carey Price at like $9.5 million cheaper. Give us back a third and a fourth. Everybody's happy. We go our separate ways. So now let's start advancing a few days. Thatcher Demko should not sign, but Jake Ottinger hopefully will, and Matthew Savoie definitely should. New scouts signing on. Very good. Welcome these scouts to our organization. We should have some of those other players with the potential who we signed as well. Scouts, thank you very much. Here's the big day now. Moment of truth. Jack Quinn, welcome to Lehigh Valley. Trevor Wong, welcome to Lehigh Valley. Forsmark, yeah, took a one-way deal. Good luck in Edmonton. All right, here's where we should see the goaltending decisions. Jake Ottinger! What? And then Thatcher Demko? What? The total opposite of what I thought would happen happened. And Matthew Savoie extends. I am flabbergasted. Jake Ottinger didn't sign. We offered him more than he wanted. He didn't sign. Demko, we offered him less than he wanted, and he did sign? Yeah, I didn't offer him. He wanted 7.95. I offered him 8. So we get Thatcher Demko for $8 million for the next, was it a 5-year, was it a 4 or 5-year contract? A 4-year deal. 4x8 for Thatcher Demko. 4x8, and he signs on. Wow, he was asking the 9. That's so rare. 4 years, $8 million per season. Vancouver offered Ottinger. It was 3 or 4 years at 5.8, I think. He goes for what? 1, 2. Huh? He took a 2-year deal? A 2-year deal with Vancouver? That's so weird. A lot cheaper at 2 overall. That's very... It came down to preference, I guess. So he goes to Vancouver, and we get Thatcher Demko. We get the better goalie. It costs $8 million for the next 4 years. It's not a bad situation to be in. Now when it comes to our extension dollars, we will have, let's say we need Alex Newhook, so let's say we will have 9.475. Let's say Giroux signs on for something like 3 if he doesn't retire. A guy like Robertson, a guy like Ristolainen, yeah, we're in an okay spot. Get them off the books as well. Then come 2028-29, we'll have to do, let's see, we'll get a defenseman, whether it be Pionk or Sanheim. Brisebois, Paros, those are the big contracts there. That's where things will get a bit tighter. But with contracts like Ristolainen, Pionk coming off the books, I think we should be fine. I don't think the 2.05 or 2.15 million between Ottinger and Demko makes a big difference. I offered Ottinger, either it was 5.75 or 5.85. So to go from 5.85 to 8, and that becomes Thatcher Demko, who's a couple of seasons removed from a Vezina trophy, I'm okay with going Thatcher Demko 4x8. Absolutely. So huge surprise here in Philadelphia. I don't think we really have anything else to take care of headed into next season. We've made our trades. Last thing I'll do before simulating, I suppose, and of course doing the draft class, would be to make sure that our roster is good in the AHL. So looking at the forwards, right now in the NHL, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. McLennan 11 and 12 would be Mayorov. In the AHL, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be... yeah, we could probably sign one AHL forward, because one of these guys, like Madden, will probably be 13th forward in the NHL. So we could sign 1 or 2 AHL forwards. Then defense in the system. So in the NHL, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With, Plakonov's already an 80. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Risto has to go. Somebody has to go. But of these, Kolyachonok, I doubt he makes it. So I'd say he's number 1 in the AHL. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with an extra. So defense is fine in the AHL. In the AHL goaltending, Ev Gascon, and we'll get a backup in the AHL and a couple of AHL forwards. So our new AHL backup will be Len Oliver, medium starter potential at the age of 20, 69 overall. Hey, not too bad for his age. He can be backing up Ev Gascon, so we'll give him a 3-year entry-level deal right there. Bang. And for 13th forward in the NHL, I might want to go Noel here instead of Madden. Madden's a 78 who could be first-line center in the AHL. Noel, 6'5" power forward, 80 overall. He's okay with a two-way deal. I wouldn't be opposed to Noel being just depth instead of having it to be Madden. In the AHL last year, 58 points. Yeah, I think for an 80 overall, willing to take a two-way deal, I'm all right with that. So we'll go 1 year, keep some RFA even, at 900K. Bang, Sarah Noel. That would allow Madden to be in the AHL, and then one other player we can silently say, this guy Alfredson, 20 years of age, Tomas Alfredson, 2024 third-round pick, a wonky playmaker. So how does he simulate? 18 points in the SHL last year. It's not bad. So let's give him the NHL and see what happens. We'll give him, it has to be an entry-level deal. All right, entry-level deal. Tomas Alfredson, Alfie's son, made it. Very nice. And of course, I totally forgot to mention the coaching staff as well. My brain is all over the place. We had so many conversations in the Discord server. Plus, I'm recording a day later after I asked those questions like 3 minutes ago in the video. I decided to not go for one of those A+ head coaches. The reason was, even though they were A+ with A offense, the more I thought about it, was it worth firing our head coach? Forget the storyline. I don't really care about the storyline for the coaches, but is it worth firing a coach who is A-rated with A- offense and a 60% fit for a guy who's A+ with A offense and like a 48% fit? Not good for Moritz Seider either, who's a guy in our top pair. Again, Matteo Dainton, not committed to him at all. If we could fire him and get someone better, I would. But I wasn't particularly sold on either of those options, as yes, overall is more important than team fit. But to take such a hit on team fit and just go from A to A+, that's tough. If it was from B or B+ or A- to A+, that would be a big jump. But A to A+, I don't know. It takes some experimentation to really know how big is that difference and is it worth taking the hit. But that being said, I will try to go out and hire an NHL goalie coach as well as some AHL assistant coach, whatever, just to fill out the staff. The staff chemistry is pretty good, so hopefully it doesn't hurt it. This guy, Mikael Eriksson, looks half decent when it comes to the attributes. Coach influence is good. Offense and defense at B- is good for a guy who would be our goalie coach. Will he accept it in this world of musical chairs where you can never get your coaches to do anything? We'll back up the dump truck of money, 5 years, 750K, NHL goalie coach. There we go. AHL assistant, just whoever's good with growth pretty much. Coach influence and teaching, A+, but they're like D and everything else. So forget the teaching. We'll go with coach influence. C and C-, but E on defense. There are just no really good choices at all. This guy looks somewhat decent. The A- on the penalty kill. Just trying to find the most well-rounded AHL assistant, and welcome to Lehigh Valley. And now the very last thing to do in the offseason is to get the draft class quality and generate prospect quality with the random number generator. 1 to 30 would be low, 31 to 69 is medium, and 70 to 100 is high. Draft class quality this last season was low. This next season it will be medium as I get a 64. So medium draft class quality. And for generated prospect quality, it was high this last season. Next season it will be low as we hit 18. So draft class quality medium, prospect quality low. After we had high and low the last 2 years, we will now have medium low, which, you know what, makes sense. I like how this, is the law of averages is coming into effect here. Medium low in next year's draft class. So we see big moves here. Eichel to the Caps, Snoop Michael Oliver re-signing with the Kings, but we are finally just good to go and ready to get to next season. Scouts, staff, trades, signings. We get our AHL assistant coach. That's great. We just get the last ones. I don't really like the makeup of your roster, but okay, I'll accept. Okay, get in there, NHL goalie coach. Len Oliver's on board. Last couple names here is to call it an offseason. Noel is in, and Alfredson is in. So Mala with an RFA qualification coming through as well. Great. Emil Andre as well. There are the last couple RFAs. Let's get to the preseason, finally. All right, so we have now arrived at the preseason, and it's time to put players where we think they may be best suited for in this coming season. NHL, AHL, their line spot. Let me do a little bit of tinkering and show you what I got. All right, so here we go with my idea of our lineup headed into year number 5. First line, Laine, Peterson, Nylander, +5. We gotta figure out, is it going to be Peterson or Pettersson? But I think I'm going to go with Wayne Peterson, especially since he is an American. Wayne Peterson, first line centerman, as a 5-star shooting sniper. Is it too much sniping with him in Laine? Not enough playmaking? We'll experiment as time goes on. Second line, Parros, Savoie, Puljujärvi. Savoie's up to an 87 overall. He's listed as a first-line forward, and he's on the last year of his entry-level deal before the extension even kicks in. Parros at an 86 still has another 2 years of entry-level deal. And Puljujärvi, this is the first year of his 5x5.025 deal that we gave to him. Pretty reasonable contracts in that top 6. Third line, I'm thinking Lindblom, Giroux, and Frost. Fourth line, Alex Newhook, only because if I put Newhook or whoever else on the wing instead of Lindblom, the line gets a -2. That's the only thing holding me back. I want to give Newhook ice time. I'm giving him power play time, but it's hard to give him top 9 minutes when it gives that line a -2. Fourth line, Artem Mayorov, our Ukrainian prospect who was a first-round pick in 2025. He is, 3 years left on his entry-level deal. Fantastic. Newhook, and then Connor McLennan, the Flyers' 6th-round pick in 2020, coming off of an 80-point season in the AHL. 86, in 82 games. He's been great down there, a fantastic playmaker, even though he's listed as a sniper. So Newhook's more of a shooter. Maybe that works as a scoring fourth line. On the defense, we see Pelech, Seider +1, Brisebois now up to an 81 playing with Sanheim, and Plekhanov, who's grown to an 82, our 4th-round pick in 2023, defensive defenseman, 96 shot blocking, 92 stick checking, 5-star physical, 4-star shooting as well, 6'3", low elite prospect, listed as a top 4 D-man. 82 playing with Matthew Robertson, who is an 81, but it gives the pair a -3. Between the pipes, we see 88 overall Thatcher Demko, the first of his 4-year deal, super surprising at $8 million per year, backed up by his former colleague, I don't know if they played much together, but teammate or organization mate in Vancouver, Michael DiPietro, who's at an 84 overall and has 1 year left at 1.75. So Demko and DiPietro, Vancouver 2.0. But now that leaves the scratches as 13th forward Noel, no problem. But Neil Pionk, I don't think I really see a spot for him in this lineup. I'm not sure if I'm sold on him. I was hoping with the chemistry and the power play time and the high scoring and all that, he'd get into the 40-point-plus range. He's still stuck around the 30s. 11 goals was great, but 22 assists, -11. Not horrible, but is it enough to kick one of these top 4 D-men out of the lineup or out of the top 4? Then who gets kicked out of Plekhanov and Robertson? I'm okay with Risto being 7th D. It's the last year of his $5.255 million. He's our dear beloved son. We love him very much. He's been a solid player actually for us. Last year was okay, 12 points +2. The year before, 26 points and a +6 with 3 game-winning goals. Rasmus has been a fun character to have in the postseason. Never horrible. Okay, 6'4", and we love him. So if Noel could be 13th forward, Risto 7th D, do we trade Neil Pionk or do we find something else for the defense? The chemistry is not great. If we put Brisebois to the 3rd pair, it goes back to 0-0, but I really want Brisebois getting his ice time. If we put whoever we put with Seider, it gets negative or 0 aside from Pelech or Sanheim. So do we look at getting a new head coach due to chemistry? I don't know. The new guys that were available in July wouldn't have helped any more than this guy's doing. So maybe just be a curse of their preferences. Like Moritz Seider, his preferences, he is a balanced shoot defenseman. And if we can pair him with Brisebois in the future, who is hold line shoot, we got to find a coach who's balanced shoot. So we can go checkmark on Seider and checkmark dash on Brisebois. That would be ideal, but we haven't found that yet. Aside from that, special teams, we get +5, +3 on the power play units, Penalty kill, +2/+2. Mayorov getting ice time. Lindblom getting ice time. On the power play, Newhook getting ice time. So it's pretty solid stuff here. I'm liking it very much. Down in the AHL, not enough growth from Pekka. He's still 78, so we'll give him first-line time. He's only 20, so we'll wait for him to make the NHL next season. Jack Quinn on that top line. Madden's here. Kaskamaki, he's a good prospect. We want to give him growth. Trevor Wong, Alfredson, they're all here. Defense, we see Kolyachonok still 79. And goaltending, Ev Gascon has grown to a 78. So hopefully, fingers crossed, she can be the first woman in NHL history to play an NHL regular season game when she backs up Thatcher Demko next season. Fingers crossed if she continues to grow, because DiPietro is likely gone. He'll want 3, 4, 5 million plus. Oliver also up to a 71 overall. So there are your updates on the lineup, ladies and gentlemen. Now will be, what do you think you want to see in the preseason? What would you need to see to make a player stick? What kind of experimentations do you want to see? And what would convince you to kick a player out of the lineup or keep a player in the lineup? NHL captaincy should still be the same. Captain Giroux with alternates being Lindblom and Seider. And now here we are to begin the preseason. And by the way, just interjecting here, we see that when the lines are made this way, the team fit for Dainton is actually at 52%, so not as ideal as we thought. Now, who's to say that the coaches we were looking at in the offseason wouldn't be at 40%? But I don't know, looking back on it, maybe we should have gone for it. It was hard to know the team fit at the time. So again, if we could look at our lines during the offseason, that would be great. But for some reason, the game says we can't. And because of that, it makes us think. This guy's at a 52% team fit. Maybe Rasu, too bad it can't show us his team fit for some reason. Maybe we try promoting him, but he's A- with B- offense, so probably not. Other head coaches who are available, only Deschamps, who we already had in our team. He's A- with A- offense, and will be a 51% team fit, so not ideal. Just looking at other coaches, 59s. Yeah, it's not really we haven't really put together a lineup that is conducive to a lot of coach fits in the EA-generated coaching system. 57, 58 seems to be about the highest percentage that we're getting. I don't want to go to the preseason itself just yet because I need to get the scouting done. I'll do that off screen. So I'll leave you off here. This is where your decisions will come in. If we were to trade Neil Pionk, his trade value, by the way, here are the rest of the high trade values. His trade value is reasonable. We could definitely get some decent return for Neil Pionk. But what do we see on the trade blocks around the NHL? This will be what we close out on. Let's see skaters matching the blocks, sorting by overall. We see Isaac Lundstrom is still an RFA out here. He is unsigned. Other prospects down the list here in Anaheim. Arizona, we see Thomas Tatar. Boston, Dominic Cahoon. Buffalo, Kemmel, an RFA. Joaquin Kemmel, medium elite RFA. Sniper with 5-star shooting. He's coming off of an 88-point season. My goodness. So he's an RFA who's available. We just traded for an RFA. We got Wayne Peterson. A forward probably wouldn't be what we're looking at. But just to say, he's on the block. Olofsson expiring deal. This guy Doughty, medium elite defenseman, 76 overall, 22 years of age. Kip Doughty, a sniper, not a defenseman. I'm thinking of True Doughty. Kip Doughty, a sniper. How does he simulate, if you're curious? This is how, 44 and 66 last year. Takes quite a few shots. That's evident. Other prospects here in Buffalo. And by the way, another interjection here. I was thinking about Kemmel and what he was asking for and Lundstrom. Oliver Bjorkstrand is in free agency as a UFA who wants 1 year, 1.6 million. That's it. Even go 2 years at 1.4. 85 overall. Listen, as a second liner. How does he simulate? Our forwards are so packed, but what an offer. Ooh, does not simulate well. Ice time, very limited ice time though. That's the thing. He's played very limited ice time. 8 minutes a night, 22 points, not bad in 82 games, but still, yeesh. Tough simulation numbers. Do we take a chance on him to be a third liner if we moved out a guy like Newhook and then Lindblom got bumped down? We need a third liner? Maybe, but supposedly 3 bars not fitting our coach. Just wanted to throw it out there. Really crazy to see him still in free agency. Calgary, we see Jesse Ylönen. Carolina prospects, Chicago, Juleson, various 80, 81 overall players. Colorado prospects, Columbus prospects. Some of the, I'm not really even looking at the prospects themselves unless someone really jumps out. Like, this guy 75-20 looks interesting, but his potential is not great, so keep both of those things in mind. 75-20 from Vahalati, playmaker. You know, we could look more into someone that you want to know more about. Leave a comment or put a message in the Discord server if you want to know more about someone. Dallas, we see Marino, Burakovsky, Sagan, Anderson. Very interesting. Marino is an 86, two-way D. We need to do some pro scouting on him. Expiring deal, though. Tempting. Detroit, Trouba, Kane, Fabro, Hronek, Kerfoot, Nemesnikov. Lots of 82 to 85 overall players. Some on expiring deals. Edmonton Oilers, prospects. Florida, nobody. LA Kings, prospects. Minnesota Wild, nobody. Montreal Canadiens, nobody. Nashville Predators, lots of players. Strome, Gauthier, Mahura, Lowry, Nudivara. Lots of that 80 to 81, 82 range. On the New Jersey Devils, prospects, New York Islanders, Christian Dvorak, 87 overall, Zaka, 87 overall, Ryan Pulock, Yafalo, Lee, Comfer. Few expiring deals here in New York. New York Rangers, Kreider, Hayek, Alexiak, Murphy. So we did New York a favor. They would have only like $2.6 million. They wouldn't have been even able to sign Wayne Peterson. So they got Farabee, they got Brink. It worked out for them in the end. Ottawa Senators, Shabbat on the block. 2 years left as an 88 overall, making $8 million. My goodness. Drake Batherson expiring deal as an 86. A sniper. Not sure if he fits our top 6. He's coming off of a 52-point season. He's a sniper who doesn't score. Classic. Yeah, not the greatest player in EA land. Pittsburgh, got a couple players there. San Jose, Erik Karlsson expiring contract. Seattle Kraken, a bunch of names there. St. Louis Blues, Kopp, 5 years at an 86. Ryan O'Reilly expiring deal, maybe a deadline idea. 85 overall expiring deal from Ryan O'Reilly. Could send the pro scout. Browns, Svozil. Tampa Bay prospect. Toronto Maple Leafs, nobody. Vancouver, mostly prospects. Vancouver, Vegas, Clegg, and Whitecloud. Washington, nobody, and Winnipeg, prospect. So there are your trade blocks around the NHL, ladies and gentlemen. This offseason has been long and eventful enough, so I will close it out there. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts, suggestions, complaints, praises, questions down in the YouTube comments down below, or over on the Discord server. Join the other assistant general managers making live decisions when I call to you for help. The link for that is down in the description. And I have very high hopes. I am very excited for year number 5, 2026-27, and I hope you are as well. So leave a like if you're excited. Be sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on any of the uploads, whether it be NHL 22 franchise mode, career simulations, or NHL 23 content, which is less than a month away. You won't want to miss out on guides, tutorials, franchise, and much, much more. So all I can say is thank you so very much for taking the time to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next one.